What's up, everybody? We got another Summerslam to do in the anthology. I've gone from 1988 all the way to, I'm going to go to 2023. I've got my Coca-Cola here. Cheap plug. I don't even do monetizations because my channel hasn't reached 1,000 subscribers. Wink, wink. Hit subscribe anytime you want if you want to become one. I just am thirsty. That's all there is to that. And I figured a couple sips before I do a SummerSlam review is welcome. But honestly, dude, welcome to the channel of Macho Wrestling 101. Not only reviews, but we look at the deceased wrestlers and we talk about the best matches people have had. We review random pay-per-views, and I review up-to-date Raws. Crown Jewel was today, SmackDown, etc., etc. At the time of this recording, it was anyway. You might get the SummerSlam 03 much later on than Crown Jewel, but that's the day I did the recording for this pay-per-view from America West Arena in Phoenix, Arizona. August 24th, 2003. Lillian Garcia sings the national anthem as things were still patriotic in America at the time. This is around the time where the Iraqi war just started. The hosts for the show are Jim Ross, Jerry the King Lawler, and Michael Cole and Taz for SmackDown. We open with a Raw brand tag title match as La Resistance, Rene Dupree, and Sylvain Grenier defend versus Bubba and Devon Dudley, the Dudley Boys. This was a good tag match. It went back and forth. Nick Patrick ended up being, of course, it's Nick Patrick, the dirty official, ended up being a difference maker because Devon had the tables, but Dupree charged at him, so that gave a 3D for the two. Grenier pulled off Nick Patrick out of the ring when he was counting. A cameraman went into the ring and drilled Devon in the head with the camera as Dupree covered for the victory, and they retained the titles at 7:49 du La Resistance. Afterwards, the camera guy drilled Bubba in the head with the camera as well. Spike Dudley ran to the ring and he was hit in the head with the camera. So who the hell is hitting all these Dudley boys in the head with the camera? Well, that guy has happened to be Rob Conway, the third member, a new member of La Resistance. So they retain the tag titles. I give it 2 stars. Basic tag team match with the hot tag involved halfway through after the heels cut off the half of the ring with frequent tags. Solidifying an onslaught attack against the babyface, waiting for the hot tag. That kind of formula until the end, and we got that creative finish, which was nice, so I bump it up to 2 stars. Next, we had The Undertaker versus A-Train. This was just your basic Undertaker match versus Test the year before at SummerSlam. It's a big man versus Undertaker. Undertaker's over as a face, and he had problems with Vince McMahon at the time, so Vince had Sable as his valet, and Sable worked with A-Train, so Sable was in A-Train's corner. So The Undertaker and him had quite the feud. Undertaker hit Snake Eyes at A-Train. Undertaker set up for the last ride. A-Train shoved Taker into ref Brian Hebner. A-Train hit the Baldo Bomb, the derailer, for a count of 2, but The Undertaker then went for a clothesline. A-Train ducked, hit the ref, bicycle kick by A-Train, goes for a chair, turns around, he kicks the chair right into A-Train's face for a long 2 as the ref was slow to count. Taker picks him up for the tombstone. A-Train slides out, so now Undertaker hits a choke slam for the victory at 9:19 to get A-Train done. 2 stars and a quarter for this match. It was your typical big man match. Wasn't amazing, wasn't great, but it was pretty good. So that's the first 2 matches of the night. Let's move on. The third match was Eric Bischoff versus Shane McMahon. Eric Bischoff, the GM of Raw at the time, was doing all sorts of crap to Linda McMahon with Kane there. Kane was tombstoning Linda. Shane McMahon came back as the babyface trying to fight for the family name. And this started off a little interesting with Coach at ringside. Shane McMahon and Eric Bischoff went at it. Shane threw him into the SmackDown announce cable, but from behind, somebody drilled Shane McMahon with a chair twice. The camera lifts up, and it's none other than Jonathan Coachman, the interviewer for the last 4 years in WWF, who is squeaky clean, now is a heel. I still remember watching this live on pay-per-view, and my sister, who watched during the Attitude Era, my little sister, but she watched this part with the Coach turning heel, and she went, "No way." So she even was like, wow. they had the coach turn heel. She even knew what those alignments mean, heel and face. She knew. She wasn't an internet fan, but I taught her the heel face thing. So yeah, that was crazy, and out of nowhere too. So Coach and Shane and Bischoff just beat on Shane until the glass breaks. Austin comes to a huge pop. Coach cut him off, saying that he only works for Bischoff, not Austin. He said Austin can't touch him unless he's physically provoked, because that was what was going on at the time when Austin was the GM. He can't touch anybody, but Shane shoved Coach into Austin, so Austin did get the chance to beat the shit out of the Coach. Then he threw Coach out of the ring. Austin grabbed the mic, and Shane picked up Bischoff, then took his hand and provoked Austin with it, so Austin got to beat the piss out of Shane. I believe he hit the stunner. He put Bischoff up across the Spanish announce table. Shane climbed to the top rope and hit an elbow through it, and won the Falls Count Anywhere match at 10:36. So that was just good fun. I give that a 1.5 stars. That was just made for Coach's heel turn and Austin getting in his bumps. Yeah, for the fun of part of it, I give it a 1.5 stars. Up next, we got a fatal 4-way for the United States title, and this was more of the wrestling the fans kind of tuned in for. Benoit was a face, Eddie was a face and a heel. Rhino was a heel, and Tajiri didn't get much of a reaction. This is a SmackDown brand match, and there was fast-paced action right away. Tajiri drilled Rhino with a hard kick. Rhino reverses a power slam and gets a 2 after Benoit saves. Benoit chops Tajiri down. I believe this was an elimination match. I believe this was one fall to a finish. Yeah, this was one fall to a finish. I'm just checking my notes. Definitely. Benoit puts Rhino in the crossface, double submission. Whoever taps first loses. He didn't tap. A crossface on Guerrero. Rhino broke it up because he didn't want Chris Benoit to be victorious. Benoit then with a German suplex and then a 2. Eddie tried to get in, but they flipped him over. Tajiri reverses a bridging German for 2. The crowd was buying all of this. Benoit climbs over Tajiri, top rope headbutt. Benoit goes for a powerbomb, but Tajiri gets a Hurricane Rana and sends them both out. Eddie up top, and he hits his frog splash onto Rhino's back. Eddie rolls him over for the 3 count for the victory at 10:50. So great match here. I rate it 3 stars and 3/4. Eddie Guerrero gets the victory. Like I say, I like the match. I thought it was a good fit. All 4 guys were entangled on SmackDown for a lot of weeks, so throwing them in a 4-corner match was alright with me. There was a lot of quality here, so far that's the best match of the night. Eddie Guerrero with his U.S. title. Next up, we had Kurt Angle defending the WWE title versus Brock Lesnar. Lesnar had just turned heel 2 weeks before this on SmackDown in a cage match with Vince McMahon where they didn't actually wrestle. Angle was the referee during that match. I was there live. I was the third row behind Cole and Taz. And I got to see Lesnar's heel turn in the cage as he threw Angle against the cage and then lifted his hands with Vince. That's the same night Benoit fought Eddie. It's the same night Undertaker faces Cena in the Vengeance rematch. So I got to see some pretty cool shit for that SmackDown, because SmackDown and other cool shit from WWF doesn't usually come to where I live in WWE. But those were a SmackDown, and that was a SmackDown event I did get. So anyways, Lesnar's the heel here. They had amazing chemistry at WrestleMania 19, so the fans going into this one knew that this was going to be another amateur match. What I mean by amateur match, I mean with how they're going to shoot. It's going to be like a shoot wrestling match. They're going to do chain wrestling. They're going to do a battle for leverage for amateur style wrestling. They're going to go back to their basics, basically. And they did. The first few sequences of the match were just hard, impossible to keep up with, but the crowd applauded. The Lesnar with his heel tactics worked on Angle, and he talked trash to Angle using his heel mannerisms. He went for a leg scissors. He rolled Kurt up too. He broke the leg scissors. Angle chants were held in the crowd by Phoenix's crowd. Lesnar gets a knee to the gut to kill the momentum built by Angle. A backbreaker by Lesnar to Angle. Fisherman suplex by Brock over the head into a Samoan drop. Lesnar with a ton of power moves here. Angle with a flying forearm to knock Lesnar out. Angle with a few German suplex, and he ended up getting a near fall. The crowd wasn't overly excited about this part, but they should have been, even though it went to a slow, methodical pace where Brock did a half bear hug to try and ground Angle. His legs were then wrapped Brock around Brock's head in a weird standing submission move. Ankle locked by Angle all of a sudden out of nowhere, but Brock made it to the ropes. Lesnar makes it to the ropes again. Still no ref. McMahon comes to the ring to drill Angle in the back with a chair. Brock backs to his feet, kicks him in the gut, and Lesnar hit the F5 on one leg. 2 count. Angle kicked out. I thought that was going to be it after that, but it was just a false finish. Vince said, "Do it again, do it again." So Brock hits another F5 ordered by the chairman, but countered by Angle. Another ankle lock on the left leg. Brock gets to the ropes, but Kurt rips him off. Brock beats it 3 times to the ropes, but Kurt won't let go. Lesnar's forced to tap at 20:48. The winner by submission and still champion, Kurt Angle. Vince came into the ring after the match, but Angle stopped it, and he sets up the chair so that it's seated. Angle slammed through the seated chair for Vince McMahon, whose birthday it was. Crowd celebrated Angle's win and a successful post-match attack. I rate this match 4.5 stars. Definitely one of the better matches of all time. Probably in my top 50 matches ever. I know I have a list with 4.5 stars and above. I even have 3.5 stars and above, but of the 4.5 and above, they're around the 50 mark, so that's how I know it's in my top 50 matches, if it's 4.5 stars. I like the WrestleMania match a sliver ahead of this one. This one was more... I can't distinguish it from the first one because the first one had action all throughout. I want to say this one was more methodical, but it was also fast-paced, and I think it went a little bit shorter than the WrestleMania. So they're both different. Their Iron Man was also a classic that I have, I believe, at 4.25, 4 stars and a quarter. But this one I have 4.5 stars, and the WrestleMania one, just for reference, is 4 stars 3/4. So that's as high as you can get without being 5 stars. So definitely love the chemistry between Angle and Lesnar. The matches in succession got a tad worse from being top-notch quality. Again, 4.75 stars for Angle and Lesnar at WrestleMania. 4.5 stars for this match here at SummerSlam, and then 4.25 stars for the Iron Man on SmackDown in September, where Brock would later win the WWE title from Angle in a match that went 6-5 or 5-4. It's one of those two in the Iron Man match on SmackDown. I've reviewed it before, so that's how I can kind of remember that. Next, we had a no-holds-barred match between RVD and Kane. Kane was a sadistic heel. RVD was the sympathetic babyface. Kane worked him over with punches. Van Dam had his unorthodox offense. Kane climbed to the top rope, tried to do a clothesline, but fell off. He fell to his feet. People laughed and chanted, "You fucked up." He did the clothesline again, but RVD moved out of the way this time. Ladder to the ribs by RVD. Kane with a DDT on the floor, which RVD sells like he's dying. Kane picked up the steps over his head and dropped toe hold to RVD, set Kane right into the steel. That's gotta hurt. And that's like the flare move off the top that never works, what he just did. A drop kick by Van Dam to Kane over the barricade into the front row. RVD there brought this to the floor. Kane's face, drop kick to chair right in Kane's face. Van Terminator is what JR called it. The Van Daminator, though. Kane was out in the corner. RVD goes up top of the chair and misses the Van Terminator again because Kane moved out of the way this time. RVD tried to leave him on the floor, but Kane caught him. Kane with a tombstone on the ring steps like he did to Shane McMahon weeks earlier on Raw. That looked great there. Kane rolled RVD into the ring after the tombstone to the steps. He gets the victory at 12:49. So I rate this match 3 stars. I thought both guys did a great job. So 3 stars for the Kane versus RVD match. RVD. Stuttering on the word RVD. Next up, we had the main event. It was Triple H defending the world title against Goldberg, Shawn Michaels, Kevin Nash, Chris Jericho, and a newcomer named Randy Orton, who a lot of people were like, wow, he's in a championship match at SummerSlam. He'd be in the championship match next year's SummerSlam too, and that went quite well for him. But at this time, he was a pretty, he was a newbie in the business, and he was a part of the 6-man match, but it worked. They wanted to push him with which are the other members of Evolution. Jericho and Michaels started the match, which is probably the best choice of 2 people you could have in there. The third was Randy Orton. The fourth was Kevin Nash. The fifth was Triple H. And the sixth was Goldberg. Again, picking Goldberg to do the damage. Once he got in the ring, shit picked up. Spear through the pod glass. Michaels nailed Hunter with a super kick. Nash nailed a jackknife powerbomb on Jericho. Nash tossed Orton onto Michaels to knock them both down. Nash hit a powerbomb on Orton. Nash left to cheers while the 4 guys in the match were all down around the ring. This was just after Chris Jericho eliminated Kevin Nash, which I missed on my notes. Fans were chanting Goldberg while that was going on. Michaels nailed Nash with a surprising super kick, and Jericho pinned Nash to eliminate him. So that's what happened after he got eliminated there. Then we have Goldberg eliminate Randy Orton in short order. Goldberg was then on a tear. He ducked every move. He ducked HBK's kick and then hit a jackhammer after a spear to HBK, eliminating him. Jericho was back in the ring. Goldberg charged in and hit a spear. Goldberg then with a jackhammer to Jericho, eliminating him. Goldberg's eliminated everybody here, except Nash. And not Nash. Who's the first person? I'm just making sure. Just going up in my notes to make sure I get that right. Yeah, it appears that Nash was eliminated by Jericho. That's right, Nash was eliminated by Jericho, and the final 2 were Triple H and Goldberg. And Goldberg had eliminated everybody else except Jericho, who eliminated Nash. So that was the only guy he didn't eliminate. This is Goldberg picking up and just such an onslaught of offensive powers in there. Ended up Ric Flair had the sledgehammer to Triple H, and Triple H got the sledgehammer shot in with the pedigree and the pinfall. Triple H retained. I remember a ton of people being pissed off with this ending at 1912, the Elimination Chamber match. I gave the Chamber match 3 stars and a quarter. It wasn't as great as one would hope, but neither was this event really. It didn't really have many classics going for it other than Angle versus Brock. As a result, I give this SummerSlam a 5 out of 10. So yeah, that's SummerSlam 2003. We'll see you next for SummerSlam 04 and 05. Maybe I'll have my microphone and headset by then. I'm gonna try to get one soon. This is just a fan, by the way, but it almost looks like a microphone, so I keep it in the background. Just kidding. That's where it usually always stays, but it does look like a microphone in some sense, so I was like, hey, even though that's there, I'll keep it there. Just kidding. I'm just going to get a lot of stuff soon, though. For now, what you see is what you get. Thanks for being on this channel, and we'll see you for the next review. I'm Brett Mix, and I'm out.